All right. We're in chapter 16, verse 3. I think in verse 2, I talked about it being distributive, and that's and that's something we just got through talking about in the Greek class. Okay, I think I talked about that. But let's use verse 16. I don't remember whose turn it is. You guys will have to kind of fight it out. Which
Looks
one?
like mine. We don't have a screen yet. If you're sharing a screen, we don't have it yet.
I probably didn't share a screen. Maybe I better try to share the screen. I didn't click on combine notes is what I didn't do. Is that better? Let's see now. Now can you see it?
Oh, there it is. Yes.
Okay. I forgot to click on combine notes. Okay. All right. First grade at 16:3.
All right. I think that one's mine. I'll take it.
I'm still not seeing the screen.
Oh, okay. I have it on my end.
Interesting.
Are you still not seeing it, James?
Just a minute, sir. Yes, sir. I now have it. It was hidden. So go ahead, Chris.
All right. 1 Corinthians 16:3. Oton de parogenomai us ion doki masete dia epistolon tutos pimpo ape negkin tain parin umon es Jerusalem. I have, and when I shall have arrived, whomever, if you might approve by letters, these I will send your bounty or grace with a view to Jerusalem.
Unto or toward Jerusalem. Okay.
Okay.
So when I arrive, this is from the Parogenomai. I come when I get there, when I arrive. And this is from genomai to be or to become. And when I become in that place, that's how we'd say it. Then it's when I get there. See, when I arrive, we might just put it that way. Okay.
Okay.
Arrive. It's genomai to become and para beside. When I arrive beside, that would be real literal. Of course, it wouldn't be good in English, but arrive is when I become beside. When I become beside you. Okay.
Okay.
Here properly. So so itself by the side of, hence to be present when I arrive or come near. Whomsoever, and you shall approve. Now, when whomsoever you approve, aeon is if dokimazo is to try or examine like you would metals or assay something to prove it. And of course, this is aorist subjunctive, active. So, and this, of course, aeon makes it subjunctive. You would not use aeon with the indicative mood, okay? It will be used with subjunctive. Those which you assay and decide you want to send. So you're gonna make your decision who it's gonna be, and so then will I send with letters. So I will send them with letters. All right. Now, the difference between pimpo and apostello is Pimpo's general term, differing from Amy, and directing attention not to the exit but to the advent, okay, the coming of it. It may even imply accompaniment as when the sender is God. So that's what it carries the idea. Apostello is to send with commission somewhat, or with some instructions of what you're going to do and more information. So there's a subtle difference between these two words here. Okay, it's general. With letters, I'm going to send with letters, epistles. Okay, instructions to the church about this. Okay, all right. To carry, and that's infinitive. All right, your body. All right, now the subject of this infinitive has to be in the accusative case. Remember that? So let's go back and see who the subject, who's carrying. It's them. That's accusative. Who's going to carry those that you approve are going to carry these letters. That's who's going to carry the letters. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Your body, they're going to carry your body. They're going to carry not just the letters. I send letters with them, but they're going to carry your body. That's your contribution, your grace, your favor that you have toward the brethren in Judea. I think the brethren in Judea were being persecuted severely by the Jewish non-believers, Jews who weren't non-Christian Jews in Jerusalem. Okay, going to carry this bounty to Jerusalem. Okay. Any comments there? So what they're doing, it's a bounty. It's something that there's a bunch of money being given. I think what we see here is that when the Jewish Christians accepted this contribution, they solidified their joining together with Gentiles in the church. I'm not using the word joining the church. I'm talking about the joining together of Jew and Gentile. They solidified that. And this partially broke down the problems of this racial distinction between them. Because here now, the Gentiles, they've accepted this contribution from the Gentiles, showing that they're equal. And so the Gentiles then make this great contribution. And the Jews accepted. When they did, they're showing they're joining together with them in unity. And to Jerusalem, the bounty is carried to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is indeclinable. It's not non-declinable, which means the form of it won't change. It won't necessarily change form. It may only be partially declinable. Some words are that Jesus is not fully declinable. Jesus. And so sometimes the forms, you have to look at the forms. And oftentimes they'll have an article with it to tell you what case it is. But with the word ace before it, which only takes the accusative case, they don't need an article. Does that make sense? So what case would it be with the article with ace? Ace only takes the accusative, so it's accusative case. That's why I argue it's accusative case. That's my reason for it. Question? So Jerusalem is not a Greek name, so it's the spelling is there are variations in the spelling, and so again, the copyist could easily change the spelling of it. And I'll give you the two words in English that I use always as an example. This spelling in the United States, in English spelling of the word in Britain, and they're the same word, vapor. And color, C-O-L-O-R in English, and C-O-L-O-U-R in Britain, and so forth. A lot of words like that, the variation in the spelling. And they're still the same word. If a copyist was copying, if I'm Britain, I use the word vapor, he would write V-A-P-O-U-R. And if he were transcribing my speech, and if he were transcribing it in the United States, V-A-P-O-R. And so that's probably why we have the variance in the spelling. It's not a problem. we can tell exactly they're the same word. Any question? All right. And when I arrive, whomsoever you shall approve, I will send them with letters to carry your bounty unto Jerusalem, your bounty. And I think how did you translate that? Favor or grace or something like that?
Yeah, I put grace or bounty. I wasn't sure which is best to put there. I mean, literally, it looked like grace. That's the word grace. I mean, it looks like they're sending money, but he doesn't spell it out there.
And I put bounty, but I footnoted it 640. Grace, Greek grace or favor. Okay. Any question? All right. Verse 4, if you would, there, James, please.
Heon de axion tu tame prosukestai sunemoi porusontai. And I translated that as, and if I, for my part, may be worthy to continue the journey, they will proceed with me.
Okay. Okay. That's a good rendering. Okay. And if being, this is a being verb, a subjunctive mood right here. If it be meat, the King James American Standard uses the word meat. That's an old English word. It's suitable, say. And I don't know, the modern translations probably choose a different word. They don't use the word meat. It's just not a word that's used very much. It's still in the dictionary. You have to look it up. But it's the word here for something it's valuable. It's a value. Okay. Now here, notice the footnote here. The majority text has a different order of words. So there's two words here that are in a different order. These two words here, I believe, right here are reversed in order. Right? In some of the manuscripts. That's the only difference here. And so we'd have oxyon before it right over here instead of, and A would be after it. These two words here are reversed order. Okay, those two. Okay, in some of the manuscripts. We're not going to worry about that. It really doesn't change the meaning any at all, hardly. So if it's suitable, if it's of value to you, if you when you can weigh all the information and all the facts together, if it seems reasonable to you, you think it's worthwhile for you to do it. For me to go, okay, me to go also with them. See, now the word "go" here is not erchomai, it's parumai, and it's to journey. So for me to journey with them, it's a journey from Corinth to Jerusalem. They're taking a journey, and it's a word for a march of an army. See, they have a bearing, they have a place they're going, okay, a journey. So it might be for me to journey with, to the journey, for me to journey also with them. Say, they shall go with me. They shall journey with me. So if it be suitable for me to go also, they shall go with me. If it be suitable for me to journey also, they shall journey with me. And could render it that way. Does that help? Any question? All right, now me is emphatic, me, and so that's an emphatic form. The unemphatic form will be moi. Drop the epsilon off and it won't have a diacritical marking on it. It won't be accented. Okay. All right. So it's go with me, even me. And I probably should have put me as emphatic here. Okay. And I footnoted this suitable as befitting or worthy. All right. Any question? All right. And it's a journey, the word go, and that's pretty probably better to render the journey. I might ought to go back and change that. I'll think about it. All right, verse 5, we get into the conclusion and salutations of the book, and 5 through 24. Okay, so if you would, well, I think we're back to Chris.
Yes. Elo somai de pros humas otan Macedonian de Lutho Macedonian gar dear Komai. I will come unto you when I pass through Macedonia, for I do pass through Macedonia.
All right.
Now I don't know on the pronunciation if that's a hard K or soft like a C. I know we pronounce it Macedonia, but I don't know if it makes a difference or.
Macedonia, I think is how they Macedonia.
Okay, so it's a hard K there. Okay.
Okay, but I will come. And this is different. See, it's not the word for journey, paromai, it's ekomai. So he's used a different word now. Unto you, I'm going to come unto you when I shall have passed through Macedonia. And so it's asked when I finish that, all right, for I pass through. Now this is present tense. All right. Paul is presently passing through Macedonia. I'm going through Macedonia. And it's translated, I do pass through, but I think he's saying I'm right now going through Macedonia. See, I'm passing through Macedonia. And of course, it's in the present indicative here. And so Paul is presently passing through Macedonia. He's going through Macedonia at the time he writes this. So this kind of tells me he wrote this from Macedonia, while he was in Macedonia. Well, Macedonia would be a whole region. And he might have been in Philippi or somewhere around Philippi. Okay. Does that help?
Sure does.
All right. Okay, now then verse 6. I think we're back to James. James, could you read that for us and translate it for us?
Yes, sir. Prosumas de tucom parameno e kai parake maso ina humes me pro tempsa sete, excuse me, aeon forumai. And I translated that, and perhaps I will stay or even spend the winter in order that you may send me wherever I may journey.
So he wants to spend the winter with him. I think that's what he's saying. Perhaps you'll provide a place for me to stay for the winter. I think the church was jumping all over themselves to see who gets to the privilege of having Paul in their house for the winter. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I can just see them getting excited about him being there. Okay, I would be. We'd put him up our house right quick. We wouldn't have a problem with it. Okay, but with you, it may be that I abide. So that's kind of awkward wording, but that's how the Greek. It may be that I will abide with you. The King James Standard is pretty literal, saying, but with you I will abide. It may be that I shall abide. It may be that I will abide with you. That's better English, King James probably. American Standard is, a lot of times it's stilty in wording, but it's awfully literal from the Greek. That's one reason I like it. I don't like the Greek text from which it was derived. That's one of the problems I have with it. And I think it surely would have replaced the King James had they used the same text that the King James used. But with you, it may be that I shall abide. All right. and that's future tense, of course. Right here, he tells you about paramino. This compound word para, beside, minos, to abide, to remain beside, continue always near. Right? It's relative. Well, minnow is absolute. Okay. So, or even kais and or even winter. Now, in English, the word winter can be a noun, an adjective, or a verb. I looked that up in my dictionary, and it can be either one of the three. So in this case, the word winter is a verb in Greek. So you can see the ending of it is, and so it's the winter, to pass the winter with one or in a place. You just didn't get on in a ship to travel in the wintertime in the Mediterranean Sea. They tell me, and I've talked to sailors who were stationed in the Mediterranean, even the big aircraft carriers, the big Navy ships, they get beat around quite a lot in that Mediterranean Sea in the wintertime. And they really take a pounding from the winds and the waves. Okay. Any questions? So he's going to have to spend the winter and just wait till spring before he gets on the ship. The ships are going to stay in the harbor, not going to go out in the winter. Okay, someone will spend the winter there. And they all understood why. That he may set me forward. So he wants them to set him forward. And that you may set me forward. Now notice the may is not emphatic down here, so he's not being emphatic about it. And it's his wish, his desire. And you may set me forward. And that's of course, pro pimpo, toward, say the sin before, pro, before, and pros would be before, would be toward, but this is the sin before on my journey. This is from Peru, and whithersoever I go. Of course, the aeon will go with the subjunctive mood, so it's with subjunctive, we can tell that by aeon. Of course, the wording and the ending is middle voice. It's, he says present middle, but, and it's middle because of context, but it's middle passive form, but it is middle voice, I'm sure. Right? All right. So, but with you, it may be that I shall abide or even winter. Then I put here the word winter as a verb, as a footnote. That you, even you, and notice that's emphatic, may set me forward on my journey to what place I go. What place to what place, or in what place I go. I think to what place probably is better. I want to go back and show you. I said the you is emphatic because humace is always emphatic. Okay. All right. Go back. I think I got that documented up here. All right. No, I don't have this documented. Hamas, accusative plural. All right, I thought I had. It was humace. Okay. There it is. Use nominative plural su. The nominative su and humace are expressed for emphasis, Sayer tells us. Other sources say the same thing, okay? Any question? That's when it's emphatic. Okay. Verse 7. was the last one? Was James, were you the last? Or Chris?
Yeah, it's my turn.
Yes, sir.
All right, verse 7. Uth thelo gar humas arte in perodo idin elpizo de chronon tina epe me nai pros humas ion ho kurios epitre epitrepe. I have, for I will not see you now in passing, but I hope to remain with you for a certain time, if the Lord permits.
So I won't see you right now. So Paul, I don't see you now, not at this time. And by the way, and so right here in passing, this is referring to a brief stay. It's idin. Idin is aorist infinitive, much like our English say, see you in passing, when I'm passing by. I've done that with family members. Some of my family members, I was making a trip to just go somewhere. I might stop and stay an hour or two with some family members, visit them, and then go on. Like a cousin or somebody that I wanted to stop and see. I regret that I didn't see one of my cousins, and I drove by, and I was just in too much of a hurry, and I should have gone to see him, and he died on me, so I didn't get to see him. But I should have gone to see him. I regret that. And I didn't get back. And 2 or 3 or 4 years later, he passed away. And this is referring to a brief stay, much like our English word, see you in passing. Okay, that's my explanation. That was at the time what Paul wrote. Paul may be saying that he chose not to stop in Corinth at that time on the way up. And so he came from Ephesus and he
Call from 140.
I'll call you back. I'll call you back. I'm in class. Okay. All right. Paul may be saying.
Call from 140. 9
Oh. Okay. 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 Well, thank you. Okay. Paul may be saying that he chose not to stop in Corinth because he had pressing matters in Macedonia. I think that's probably what happened. Probably in Philippi, and if he had come to Corinth, he would only have been able to stay for a brief period of time. He didn't want to do that. He'd stay in Corinth for the winter after he finished his business in Macedonia. I think that's what he's saying. We might paraphrase all of it. That makes sense? He's explaining why I didn't drop by and see him on his way up. All right, and I think that's what it was. I'll get down to see you later, okay, and I'll spend more time with you. If I'd have come by to see you, I'd just been making a promise I'd just come in a few minutes and have to leave. I'd rather stay a long time with you and get to see you more. All right? For I hope. Now, hope entails expectation, see, to tarry. The word elpizo, hope, in Greek, it could be the expectation of good or bad. But in the New Testament, it's always an expectation of something good. But it could be expectation of something good or bad. Elpizo could be used, or I expect I hope, not hope, we wouldn't translate it in English as hope, but to be executed tomorrow. And Paul could have said that with respect to his expectation of being put to death. See, so, but in our New Testament, it's always used in a positive sense, not in a negative. But in the Greek, it has both senses. Just to expect something to happen, and it's always expectation of good in the New Testament. While at the time, see, chronos at the time with you, if the Lord permit. We always, all purposes must be qualified by this statement. We see this in James 4:15 and Acts 18:21. We have to always remember we may not be alive tomorrow. So we need to be aware of that. For I do not wish to see you just now, by the way, but hope to tarry a while with you if the Lord permit. So I don't want to see you just on a quick see you just now in passing, hence a brief stay. I footnoted it. But while, and that's a certain time, a Greek certain time, probably referring to the winter from verse 6. I want to stay the whole winter with you. And I can spend several months with you. Okay. Any questions? All right.
Yes, sir. I do have one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the reason that the aorist subjunctive is used versus the present prince, let's say that again, versus the present tense is because of the aeon that's being used.
Yeah. So it's an iffy thing. If it had been more certain or something, he'd been epsilon iota. This is it would be a more certain, okay, if. And let me do this. Hold on a minute. That would be an if. That would be a more certain if. There's two words for if. This
Right.
is right. Does that help?
Yes, sir.
So this is conditional, and again, and the condition is if the Lord permit. It's always conditional. And I'd have no way of knowing. Even the apostle didn't know if he's going to be alive, and that the Lord wouldn't come, or whatever. And so I think he knew that the Lord wouldn't come soon because there had to be a falling away first. He'd already said that in Thessalonians, but he had no way of knowing if he'd be alive. So he didn't know whether he'd be alive, or be able to come. He might be put in prison, couldn't come, so it could have happened to him because he had been in prison before. Any questions? That help?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I don't remember who was the last one. I'm losing track of it. I'm sorry.
I'm next.
Okay.
Epimeno de en Epheso Heos tes Pentecostes. And I translated that as, but I will continue in Ephesus until Pentecost.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to tarry, continue, abide. And that's abide upon, more literally, to continue tarry in Ephesus until Pentecost. All right. Any questions? All right, verse 9. It's going to tell why he's going to stay in Pentecost at Ephesus, okay?
All right. Thura gar moi, ene ogin, megale kai, enegerges kai, anti kemenoi paloi. I have for a great and productive door is open for me, and there are many adversaries.
Okay. And so there was a great door open. I treat that as an opportunity. That's the way I see it. The door is open for me. And so I'm going to want to stay here and do this work. Ephesus was on a place where ships came, and there were highways coming to Ephesus, several Roman roads coming into Ephesus. And it's one of the chief cities. So there's a great opportunity. Of course, there's opposition too. There was a paganism, and even some of the Jews were causing trouble. So there was problems with him. But I'm amazed that I think the Chinese word for danger is also the word for opportunity. But I've been told that. James, have you studied some Chinese by any chance?
Yes, I have, and I do not know the answer to your question.
Okay. Okay. All right. But I was told that opportunity and danger, and there's an opportunity with danger sometimes. And the door is open to me, but there's some adversaries too. There are people that are fighting against me, those who oppose me. Okay. Sometimes those who oppose strongly have strong convictions, and if they can see evidence, if they're honest-hearted, they can be turned from their opposition. Saul of Tarsus is a good example of this. So I don't think we should ever assume anybody is beyond the reach. God knows if they are, but we don't. So we need to just teach what we can, and there's any opportunity we can to teach them. Okay. Any questions? Okay. I've translated for a great door and effectual is open unto me, and there are many adversaries. And I did footnote that. Many setting themselves against, or many withstanding. Okay. All right. Now we get into verses 10 through 12. We're going to get a few more verses. We may finish this next week, the book. Okay. All right. If we do, I'll have another book of Greek text lined out for you. Okay. All right. My thoughts are to go into Galatians rather than Second Timothy, 2 Corinthians rather. All right. 1 Corinthians 16:10, I think. Who's next? Is it Chris?
It's James's turn, I believe.
James,
That
okay.
was me. Yes, sir. Eonde Elthane, Timotheos Blepete, Kina Aphobos Genetai, Pros Humastogar, Ergon Turiu, Ergazestai, Hos Kai Ego. And I translated that, and if Timothy might come, see that he might become fearless with you, for he works the work of the Lord that I also do.
Okay. And so if he come now, say now this is also Aeon. It's the if. So if he may come, so it's going to be subjunctive. So that's a warning. It's going to be subjunctive mood. All right. And this, of course, is erchomai. You see, and this is a commandment. The form could be indicative or imperative. I've underlined imperative. I'm convinced it's imperative. You see that EB, and so this is subjunctive middle, that he might be or become is from Genomai, begin to be with you without fear. And the os ending of an adverb is like our ly ending in English. So it's fearless without fear. And boldly would be pretty literal, okay? Fearlessly without fear. So, but the what we have is the alpha privative is where the word without comes from. Without the alpha privative would be phobos, and that would be fearlessly. Okay. and be fearless. Okay, no, without the alphabet, it would be fearing. You don't have an English word for it. And so for, he worketh, he who he, for he works. And who is this? But it has to be Timothy. Timotheus is in the nominative case. See? So he worketh what? The work of the Lord. Okay. He's working the work of the Lord. And God's is to work out something, to work something out. Not to earn it by working to acquire something. And it's opposed to inactivity. He's not idle, he's a worker. Okay. Opposed to inactivity or idleness. He's a good worker in the church. That's what we'd say. And that would be a very good commendation for someone. He's a hard worker in the Lord, or he works well in the church. All right. Any questions?
Do we know where I don't know where the fear is emphasized here, that he may be with you without fear or boldly. I don't know if it's without fear. Is the fear from his brethren or the fear from those in the community?
I don't know. That's a question I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I wasn't sure where to lay that fear at.
You're not alone. I had the same question written down.
The brethren
Okay.
could, because he's young, the brethren could despise his youth. And he's told Timothy one time that no man despise thy youth. So you're young. It might be they say, well, he doesn't have enough gray hair he's too letting to dry behind the ears. That's what we say today in America. And so they might be dealing with that. It might be a fear of the brethren. But my first inclination was fear of being persecuted, and that they would help him. I think they had to put people up and sometimes hide them sometimes when they're preaching back in the first century. That's what I think happened. So that may be what we see here. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know. Okay. I don't have you a good answer. But the verbs he be and worketh are both in the middle voice. Now, if Timothy comes, see that he may be with you without fear, for he works the work of the Lord as I also do. And again, the fear of what? Again, I don't know. I've taken it to fear of being persecuted by other people, but it could be fear of the brethren too, because some of the brethren could have said he's too young.
Is it possible, as a different slant on it, perhaps? I kind of leaned in a little different direction.
Okay.
When I translated that he might become fearless with you, not that he was afraid of them, but that he might become fearless in the work that he does.
Well, there's some implication that kind of looks like Timothy might have been a little timid sometimes. Maybe because some people by their nature are not very bold. They may teach the truth. I worked with a man who passed away, and people thought he was timid. And he was a good man. Willard Cox is his name. And he's a very good man. But he appeared timid to some, but when I got to know him, I didn't think he was timid one bit about the truth. Okay. So he stood for what's right, but he didn't come out very like a person that he wasn't pushy about it. You know what I mean? He was very meek and gentle. And some people misinterpreted that for timidity. Okay. So that's a possibility too. Okay. I shouldn't have called him, but it's recorded, but he was great and a good man. He's been dead several years. Worked with him and really enjoyed working with him. I know his family real well, and he was salt of the earth, as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
I lean in that direction because genetai mean it's a subjunctive aorist middle third person singular, but it's to be or to become, and pros can be to, towards, or with, and because of the I translated it as with you versus toward or to you,
Okay.
because it has that potential. So that's the reason I kind of head in that direction versus he's in fear and he's coming there and you need to help this guy out. But that they were to encourage him to, as they were fearless, to become more like him.
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Yeah. Well, I think you made a good point there. Chris, you want to add anything else?
No, I think that's a good way, that it's a possibility as well. With that maybe they were to encourage him to be bold. Maybe if he was younger, Paul may be looking at the older members to help him to grow out of the timidity and be more bold.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mentioned the man in Willard Cox, but his kindness and his gentle approach to things rubbed off on me and helped me. He rubbed some rough edges off me just by observing him and respecting him so much. Changed how I conduct myself. And I think he improved me greatly. Okay. I made a better person out of me. I'm not the greatest man there is, but I think he helped me. Okay. All right. Verse 11. I think we got time for one more verse if we could. Okay.
Okay, I believe that's mine. Me tis un aton exuthenese pro pimphate de aton in irene hina elethe pros me ec decomai gar aton meta ton adelphon. I have let no man therefore despise him, but equip him in peace, that he might come to me, for I'm expecting him with the brothers.
So I expect him to come with the brethren that are bringing this, and so I expect him to come. So this despising, remember I talked about him despising his youth. So this might be his timidity, okay? He might have just been of that kind of character, all right? I know some people in some of the apostles that were kind of bold, like Peter was very bold. He just spoke up right quick, okay? And sometimes you stick your foot in your mouth when you're too bold, okay? You do that. I think Peter did a time or two, but he still was a bold man. And just by nature, by how he was raised and how he grew up. So I say, let no man despise him. This is may with the aorist subjunctive, okay? Right? So what we have here, may with the aorist subjunctive, and it indicates not let no man begin to despise him is what it really is saying. Therefore, and that goes back to the prior verse, despise him. And I don't know if I have it documented here, but the aorist subjunctive with may is don't begin it. Okay. It's like the imperatives and imperative with may. Aorist imperative with may. Same idea. The word despise is found 11 times here, the places it's found. And it's possible it was Timothy's years that was being despised. And that's what I drew my conclusion from. In 1 Timothy 4:12, no man despise thy youth. Should become an example. Again, he's a young man. And in some societies, youth is, they're not treated sometimes with the respect they deserve. I've known some 16-year-old boys that were just as fine as they come, you know, and some 40-year-old men that could learn from that 16-year-old boy. But of course, with age should come maturity, should come more wisdom. But set him forward on his journey, okay? Send him toward, okay? Send before. In
You had
peace.
said oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you had said the aorist subjunctive with may means not to begin something. And then you said, I thought, and I wanted to confirm this, that the present imperative also with may means the same thing as
Oh,
not
no.
to begin some activity? Or did I catch that wrong?
I shouldn't have said that. Present imperative means to stop. With may means stop doing something. Don't do it. Stop.
Oh,
Aorist and subjunctive imperative means to aorist subjunctive and aorist imperative means to don't begin it. So they weren't despising him, but he said don't begin to despise him. That's the thrust.
okay. So both aorist subjunctive and aorist imperative?
I think they do. Both of them do.
Okay, thank you.
It's the aorist. See, aorist subjunctive can function as a commandment. And so the aorist subjunctive would function then as like beginning something, like it's more reviewing it as a whole act. Don't begin it. Right? And I think it's in the file that I call Greek grammar and lexicon grammar notes file.
It had been covered once before. I just had forgotten it.
All right. Okay. But set him forward. You set him forward on his journey. And so you send him along with an escort, okay? In peace, that he may come unto me. So my thoughts are this, we'll get back to the idea of he being thought badly of something here. It can be stressful if you're treated with not treated with the respect you deserve. And as a preacher, as a young preacher, sometimes they just won't listen to you. You just don't know. I had that problem when I first began preaching. Had been an old preacher that preached in the congregation, and he died there. And he had some wrong ideas about a couple of things. And I tried to get it straight, but they just wouldn't believe me. Okay, because you don't have the knowledge that he had, you know. And he had some things wrong, and they were not big things; they were minor things. I think one of the things was he thought that you had to drink all of the grape juice in the cup in order to be. He said, "Drink you all of it," the scripture. And I told him, I said, "That's saying all of you drink of it." And if I'd had some of the modern speech translations out at that time, I could have appealed to them for it. And they might have believed me, but no, he was teaching us this. Okay, am I making sense? So it wasn't a fellowship issue or something we should have fellowship over, but some of them were pretty excited that I was saying it was all of you drink of it. And it was telling everybody to drink from it. Okay, does that make sense? That's just one of the things I remember. And it was a couple of little things like that, but I was young and they wouldn't listen to me. Some of the older members wouldn't. And I just went on about my business. I didn't make an issue of it. It just went on. It's the best thing to do. And it just kind of bothered me that I knew I was right. I knew the Greek enough to know I was right. And I knew he was a good man and honest-hearted, but He just read it wrong. Okay. Any questions? 4, I expect him with the brethren. Okay, expect him to be with the brethren, St. Timothy. Let no man therefore despise him. See, therefore it looks back, and this is explaining the word therefore links it to the prior verse that we were talking about earlier. But set him forward on his journey in peace, in order that he may come unto me, for I expect him with the brethren. Okay. And so I expect him with the brethren to come with the brethren. When I said this, I talked about this congregation, the first place I preached, Mountain View, Oklahoma. There were 2 or 3 little things like that. And I thought about it. At first, it kind of bothered me. And I thought, well, it's not harmful. And it's okay to drink all of the juice in the cup. And I do drink it all. I try to drink it all. I drink it anyhow. And then I just let it go. It just wasn't that important. If it had been a real big issue, an issue of sin, I would have stood like a rock, okay? I might have had trouble, but I stood like a rock on that matter. All right, any questions? All right, we're going to call a halt to it there, and we'll start with verse 12 next week, Lord willing. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the class.
You're
Y'all have
welcome.
a good night.
You as well. And could I
Thank-
catch you just for a minute after class?